Hello, universe. This is my review for Tyler Perry's Temptation. This movie stars Journey Smollett Bell, Lance Gross, Vanessa Williams, and Robbie Jones. It follows the story of a woman by the name of Judith who is married to Bryce for about 6 years. They've known each other for 19 years, though, since they were small kids. And Judith works at a big city matchmaking service. Her marriage with Bryce has become predictable, and they don't seem as exciting as they once were when they were younger. So the marriage is sort of in a leveled off, not necessarily. It's more like they're roommates versus being in love. Even though he still cares about her, it's not passionate. Let's put it that way. It's not passionate to her anymore. So as she's working at this matchmaking service, her boss, this rather pretentious woman with a French accent, asks her to start working closely because Judith is this is like the psychology person for this matchmaking service. She designs the questionnaires and the quizzes to try and connect people based on their answers to the quizzes. She's basically the guru of sorts from a psychological standpoint. So her boss asks her to start working with this guy named Harley, who is apparently he's like a ripoff type of character of like Mark Zuckerberg. He created in the movie a website called Classmeet, and so he's sort of that rich entrepreneur guy, and so they start working together because Harley is considering investing in the matchmaking company, and through the course of the film, basically what happens is that Harley starts to be attracted to her. They start to talk, and he starts to be attracted to her and tells her how much he really cares for her, and it's all this sort of exciting, sort of passionate stuff. And then in the midst of it, it takes a while, but she ultimately starts having an affair with him, and then decides to leave her husband Bryce to go and be with this man. Now, I've already started to spoil the whole trend of the story, but if you're watching this review, then you probably wanted to know what happened in the movie anyway, and I'm assuming you don't care. If you do, then stop now because there's more. Let's see where to go. So meanwhile, Bryce, his dream is to eventually own a drugstore, but he right now works as a pharmacist in someone else's drugstore. It's a very simple job. It's low key. He's not doing anything that's rocket science, but he's a community type of guy. He's just a simple man and just enjoys loving his wife and watching football and just basic things. He's not he's not this debonair amazing type of passionate world jet set type of character. He's a simple person just enjoying his life. While he's working at this place, they hire this woman played by Vanessa Williams, who seems to have a questionable past. She seems very quiet and doesn't answer a lot of questions. We ultimately find out that her character is actually hiding out from her ex, who seems to be trying to find her. As the movie evolves and Judith ultimately decides to leave Bryce for Harley, there's this really sad and touching moment and really telling moment between them outside of a club where she says, you're a good guy and I hope you find a girl who can appreciate you, but I don't want a good guy, I want a phenomenal guy. And you're not phenomenal. And Lance Gross, who plays Bryce, just dynamic. I mean, this whole thing is very, very strong. So she basically dumps him, and she's started to change a lot. She's gone from someone who didn't care or worry about what people thought of her appearance necessarily to someone who's wearing more makeup and dressed up in high heels. Of course, the vixen who helps her to, change her looks and become more metro is Kim Kardashian, who actually is not that bad in this film, in my opinion. She's actually not that bad. I saw the rating on IMDb just a moment ago before I started doing this video because I wanted to make sure I had the names of the actors. And it actually only has a 2-star out of 10, and I'm shocked and disappointed by that. This is a very strong film. Very strong film and very honest. There is a little bit of contriving done, but I'll get into why they did that shortly. Overall, though, this is a very strong film. Tyler Perry has nothing but respect for me. As far as I'm concerned, of the movies I have seen this year, this is by far the best movie I have seen. It's an honest movie that talks about what really happens in relationships. So anyways, let's move on. When Judith breaks up with Bryce, Bryce ends up getting consoled by Vanessa Williams' character, and I can't remember her name right now, I don't know, but her character name. But they're just friends. I mean, there's a moment when he's like, it almost seems like he's just trying to go for something so he can make the pain go away. But she reminds him, we're not attracted to each other, and you're just doing this because you want the pain to go away for a moment. But it's not gonna change anything. So, basically, she starts telling Bryce, Vanessa Williams' character tells Bryce what I think is a very truthful statement. She says, this is not you. And this is I connect to this a lot right now because I've had a lot of problems or challenges emotionally in the last few weeks. She says, it's not you, you deserve better than that. This is someone who thinks that she's getting this great deal on someone, but she doesn't really know him. And she's right. They never point it out in the movie, but the truth is that if you are married to someone or in a relationship with someone or getting close to someone and you decide to stop so you can just jump and go the other direction like that, and you've had them emotionally invest in you and you've started to emotionally invest in them, but you're ready to pull out just so you can go for the bigger and cooler thing, especially if you're married. They don't point out the fact that you're probably going to get screwed over in the end, because if you think that person you're cheating with cares anything about you long term, you're wrong, because otherwise they'd say get out of your marriage first before we start doing something, because this is really going to my brain's a little fried right now. It's going to sabotage our relationship in the future, because we're going to know where we started as a result of this. They don't say that in the movie, but it's very evident that she's asking for trouble by doing this. But anyway, so at some point, Bryce and Vanessa Williams' character are talking, and Bryce, and she tells Bryce, you're going to find someone who deserves you, who's worthy of you, because you are a good man. And people in relationships, they do plateau at times. People lose sight of things. They get comfortable, and it happens. You should shake it up and try and do things more and try and communicate and get out and experience things together. There are times, though, in relationships when you do plateau. But that's when you find out if you're someone who really wants a relationship or if you're in it for the excitement of a relationship. Because that excitement never lasts. But I'm going off on a tangent. she tells him, you'll find someone because you deserve it, and he says, you'll find someone who, who really appreciates you the way that other man didn't. And Vanessa Williams reveals that she has HIV, and Bryce is like, I'm sorry, I can only imagine how tough that is. And she says, it's okay. I know what I have to deal with, and at least Harley's out of my life. And Bryce is instantly like, Harley, because Harley is the man that Judith is having this newfound relationship with. So he rushes over, finds her. She and Harley have had a fight earlier because Harley actually pushed her mother down at one point. Her mother's a reverend who was very religious and was trying to encourage Judith to stay away from the devil, being Harley, but she wouldn't. And at one point, the reverend calls Harley the devil, and Harley pushes her to the ground. And he and Judith, walk out, and they chase and having this fight, and they go back to his place, and she's like, you pushed my mother down, you pulled me, I don't even know if she's okay, all this sort of stuff. And so they start having this fight, and we cut away and see Bryce having this conversation with Vanessa Williams that I was talking about. Well, Bryce and Vanessa head over to Harley's place. Don't ask me how they knew where he lived. Oh, wait, they had been there earlier. Anyways, so they head over to Harley's place to warn Judith about what's going on. The door is locked. No one's answering the door. And Bryce, played by Lance Gross, just does this great, just through the door move. It was awesome. And he finds Judith, and she's unconscious, and she's been, beaten around a little bit. So she says, I'm so sorry about what I did to you, and can we fix things and all this sort of stuff. And he says, listen, don't worry, it's okay. And he picks her up and carries her out to the car and puts her in the truck with Vanessa Williams' character. Then instead of getting inside himself to drive away, Bryce walks back in and finds Harley high, passed out. He kicks him to get him up. Finally, he gets him up on his feet, and he just beats the ever-living shit out of him. It is the nicest thing to see for someone who has been cheated on before and been mistreated by women, but by a woman, but also getting back at the guy who really didn't give a damn about her in the first place, and who didn't mind hurting your life as well. So he beats the living crap out of him. As a matter of fact, Vanessa Williams' character has to stop and says, you're going to kill him. And then Vanessa Williams' character and Harley have a little bit of a moment where they see each other, and he's like, come back. And she's just, done with him, just walks away, and they leave him, bloodied on the ground. It's just great. I won't ruin the ending for you because there's a very interesting ending done by Tyler Perry, and I think very true to life, that I won't ruin for you. So go check out the film. But let's just talk overall about that story. Number one, the writing is very, very strong. There's some great moments of comedy mixed with some real truth about what happens in relationships and getting caught up in the passion of something and not realizing what it can lead to. The only major issue, and it's not even really major because I know why they did it, although I think Tyler Perry is a smart enough writer, he could have found another way around this, was I think this is the one flaw, was that I think he could have had it where Vanessa Williams was not necessarily connected to Harley's character, because it made it this sort of, comfortable circle that you could, kind of, okay, well, so she's the one, and all this sort of stuff like that. I think there could have been other ways you would have revealed that Harley was this, passionate and exciting, phenomenal type person, as Judith puts it. But underneath, there was really something wrong with him that wasn't honest and true. And I think that Tyler Perry could have found another way, but this worked because they were trying to show you that, what goes around comes around, one way or another. And so I can overlook that because of how strong it was. The four major actors in this film, Journey Smollett, Bell, Lance Gross, Vanessa Williams, and Robbie Jones, are just great. They're very strong. Lance Gross, in my opinion, is one of my favorite actors now. Great performance. Great performance. Journey, she is definitely a very strong actress, had a lot of presence, had to go through a lot of fluctuations as a character, personality and look-wise, and she pulled it off great. The direction is great. The script is great, except for that one flaw in it. There's just a lot of truth in this film. A lot of truth. I personally really connected to it and was really impressed by it. So I highly encourage it. The cinematography, it's not necessarily spectacular, the cinematography. And the music is probably mid-level. There's some music that I could have gone with or without. I would say that was like a 3. But the story is just so true to life and really demonstrates the kind of stuff that truly happens to people when they're in a situation where they're with someone and they're still committed, and this other person just starts to, has a moment opportunity to go for, the bigger, the badder, the juicier, so to speak. It's a very sad moment, and I've experienced it, and it tears you apart inside. I don't have a lot of friends close by, so it makes it very difficult for me because I kind of face this alone. But fortunately, in the movie story, Bryce had Vanessa Williams to support him and to be there for him. But it was just really telling. And I think that if you're someone who is considering having an affair with someone, I don't know that this movie is going to change your mind about doing it if you're in a relationship and considering someone else. But I think it's something you should probably see because I think it tells you what can happen. Because there's a lot of bad things that happen as a result of her getting involved with this guy. And the number one thing, and I want people to remember this, is you can go for the bigger, the badder, the more passionate moment because you think, okay, this lady who I was dating, she put a quote out on one of her dating profiles that said she wanted someone to knock her socks off. Well, that was after she had decided she didn't want to go out with me anymore, which meant that I didn't knock her socks off. That kills you inside. It really kills you inside because you're like, I was romantic, I did this, but I wasn't enough. It really tears you apart. And she's going for something in this movie. This character's going for something that seems exciting. But in the end, you don't really know who you're dealing with. And the one thing you can be assured of is if they know you're in a relationship and they're still pursuing you, they have no respect for the relationship you're in, and they really have no respect for you. And I think that's one of the things I really appreciated about Tyler Perry's movie, Temptation. Great movie. On a scale of 1 to 5, I give this a 4.75. I mean, really close to being perfect. And really what gets it is the acting and the story are really top-notch. I mean, they're 5s by themselves. With that one minor exception of how, Vanessa Williams and Harley are connected to each other, but it's easily overlooked because you know that they're trying to, bring it all together and help you to see the consequences of Judith's actions based just solely on this excitement and not appreciating what she has in front of her. Great performances, great direction, just a lot of great things to say about this film. So I highly encourage you to go and check out Tyler Perry's Temptation. high quality film. In my review, 4.75 out of 5. I want to go see more of Tyler Perry's films, and as far as I'm concerned right now, this is the only one I've seen so far that's worthy of a nomination for Best Original Screenplay for Oscars for next year. Just really strong, because there's a lot of, you know, movies that get these nominations for these scripts because of this dramatic landscape and all these things, and it's all this, you know, epic proportion and shit. This is simple. It's not a movie that's trying to blow you away with eye-popping visuals and all this kind of stuff. It's trying to tell you an intimate story that a lot of people in society can connect to. It's trying to show you that, you know, work on your relationship and appreciate what you have. Don't try and go for the next thing that makes you feel alive again. Find a way to be alive in that relationship, and if you ultimately can't, then get out and then start finding someone else. Don't jump ship from one person to another, because it changes who you are, and it hurts the person that you are leaving. And you really don't know what you're getting into, because once you split with this person you've been with and you go to someone else, all bets are off, because you only know the excitement. Get to know the person and enjoy what you have around you. It's a lot better. At least I hope people will take that from this. But definitely go see Tyler Perry's Temptation. That's my review, and I know I went off track and went on to my own little stuff, but I wanted to, you know, show you how I connected to it. So that's it. I hope you have a great night, and take care of yourselves. Happy Easter.